And we're back in the building once again. We already have one finalist in the building right now. The OKC Thunder have made it to the NBA Finals. And now we await the team from the East to come through. Look at this guy, Chino, bruv. Look at this Chino guy, bruv.
OKC.
Yeah. Go back to your sauna, bruv. Go back to your sauna, bruv. Man, like, see him in the building. What you saying, bro?
Come on, man. You know what we're about. You know what we're about, man. NBA Finals bound. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gassed. I'm gassed. It's been a long damn journey to get to this point. They keep on running back that interview where they was asking Shai about his future in OKC, and he didn't have a problem. He knew what he signed up for. That's what he said. I know what I signed up for, and this is what he signed up for. The long-term future, the long-term development of this team has been a beautiful journey to get to this point. And look, there's a lot of people complaining about them, but there has been a lot of people complaining about OKC in these NBA playoffs, especially over the course of this NBA season. But one thing you can't deny about this team is that they are in the NBA Finals, and they are 4 wins away from an NBA championship. So stay tuned, man. Stay locked into the Big 3 NBA podcast every Thursday. Lock in with us. Make sure you're subscribing to Prozone Sports, hitting that like button, clicking that notification bell. You know what to do, people.
Hey, you gotta do that, people. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button as well if you're new. Big up to Riri. She's saying, yo, the rolling depending on the results tonight. My playoff watch along might be over. OKC versus Indy doesn't interest you. Oh, nah, you can't say that, sis. Big up yourself. You can't say that. It's still the NBA Finals. It doesn't matter who's in it. These teams are earning it. They've earned it today. Over the last 2 months, they've earned it.
Hey, you got to respect it. But as long as, like, it is what it is, isn't it? I know there'll be a lot of people, because there aren't specific players or specific teams in the position, they don't want to watch it anymore. And even when you look at this Final Four, instantly people were complaining and it's that culture in the NBA, isn't it? Because we got so used to seeing a specific matchup consecutively every single year. And we get used to seeing a bunch of players every single year being in the same or at least similar positions. Now, we're in this era of parity where we're seeing different champions every single season. We're seeing teams ascend that we didn't expect to see, players ascending that we're not particularly looking out for in the previous season or even heading into the new season. And that is an interesting thing about sports, right? Because I kind of went through a period with that in football where I went into it knowing a lot of the familiar names and the popular names. And then after a while, once everybody starts to kind of decline or retire, you kind of have to start understanding that there's going to be a new school of footballers and a new generation of footballers coming over and taking over and becoming the newer style and the new like generation of top footballers and top sportsmen and top sportswomen, depending on what sports you watch, whether it's women's, men's football, basketball, any type of sport. So I think for a lot of fans, it is a different and a difficult adjustment to kind of get used to new names and new situations and new teams when you're so used to what you may view as a golden era of sports or a golden period because of what that era meant to you. I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments? And you, Ronan?
It's interesting when you like you bring that up, right? It's like, yeah, we like human beings just generally we're not used to change. So or we don't like change, right? Change is always good, right? Like regardless, that's how I see it, right? it's as a person who's watching like the sport, it's like you want to see these young stars finally get to that point where they elevate. Do you know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like there's no point in us constantly having these debates over who's the next star of the league, who's the next face of the league, and then you do not allow that person to finally reach that level and plateau, right? So someone like Shai, they've been putting him in these top 5 in the leagues and MVP conversations. He's finally gotten over the MVP hump. Why is it that now the team that he's part of that is maybe unfancied by the general NBA watcher, they're in the NBA Finals and he could potentially get his first championship? Why is there a problem with that, right? And it would have been the same for Anthony Edwards. Unfortunately, he doesn't make it. He plays for a team that's unfancied, but there's a story behind it. That franchise has never won a championship. He's the leading star within that. If they get to the finals, you see the conversation will be a little bit different because of the way they view Anthony Edwards. Even though, in my opinion, I think he's overrated for the way that they're talking about him. In my opinion, like because he hasn't achieved much based on what he said, based on what they've said, and they've built this kind of history about him. You know, he's a legend killer and all of that. Yeah, it's cool. Like, they're talking about legend killer, but all these guys are like in their 30s. Like, nah, you gotta be trying to take on your peers right now. That is how we're looking at you. That's how we have to view you. The best within your age group, you should be dominating these guys, and you haven't. This is 2 West Finals. You lost to Luka Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. 2 guys who are peers within there that they pit you against as faces of the league. We'll put that to the side. We're going to discuss that in a bit more detail. The reality is that the general fan do not like to see like a change. So if you're coming from a particular era, so if you was in the era of Jordan, Magic, Bird, you don't want to see KD, LeBron, Steph dominating, right? Because you're gonna say, it's not like my game. And if you were from the LeBron, the KD, and Steph era, you don't want to see the likes. Well, maybe it's a little bit different, the conversation, because obviously the Giannis, the Jokic, they come just underneath them, right? So it's a little bit different conversation. But if we're just gonna take a step forward, they don't want to see the Shays and the Anthony Edwards and whoever Haliburtons to be kind of now overshadowing these guys and now going for the championships. And unfortunately, the teams that they play for are not the historically great teams in the league. They're not a Lakers or a Celtics or a Knicks or whoever. They're not one of those teams. They're not the Golden State Warriors. They're not the Miami Heat. So all of a sudden now you're like, no, I don't like it. Like we got to put that to the side, man. There are young guys out here trying to make their name for themselves and carve themselves in history within the game of basketball. You kind of have to let them do that. And right now, they're on that platform right now to go and do that. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's talk about OKC, man. We got to talk about OKC, bro, because like at the end of the day, this is why we're here. They've made the finals. You know, they got to a West Finals and well, no, they got to the finals in 2012. Right, and unfortunately, they weren't able to make it. And everybody was saying, I can't believe a team with Russ, KD, and Harden couldn't make it all the way to the mountaintop. And now you've got this younger crop of OKC players who have gone and probably eclipsed because they've been one of the most dominating teams in NBA history, right? This season, they've eclipsed that team. Maybe you could say at this point, they just need to go one better and get to the promised land. But what do you think? Or like, what's your thoughts and everything? Obviously, winning 4-1 against the Timberwolves and taking the West.
Yeah, I think after the game 3 loss, where the Timberwolves absolutely blew us out of the water, it was a perfect response. 2 games and then that closeout in OKC where, I mean, from start to finish, it was a massacre. And when you think about the 2 guys that the Minnesota Timberwolves need to be on song in terms of scoring, Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, both of them struggled immensely. And again, you know, you want to speak about the OKC defense. We've spoken up about it a lot. Those guys getting steals, going on the other end, scoring and putting points on the board, most importantly. And that's just what they were doing from the start of the game. They were knocking down threes, demoralizing their opponents. And Yeah, they came out in that closeout game wanting to make sure that OKC got to see that Western Conference Finals trophy, and of course, Shai left the Conference Finals MVP as a newly introduced trophy of the last few years. So yeah, it was the perfect response to a defeat. When we was coming out of the Denver series, I was thinking, you know what? Even though I was questioning Minnesota in terms of the way they've played up until that point, especially in that second round series, I said I felt like this was going to be difficult. We knew what Denver forced out of OKC in 7 games, and the caliber of play that it forced us to get past that Denver side, champions in their own right. But I was thinking Minnesota still had a level to go up in. And I don't think they found that level at all in this series. Even in the game that they won, I don't think they found their best level. And I know people will speak about Ant-Man being injured. You know, you always say, bro, everybody's injured in the playoffs. It gets to a certain stage where ultimately it's the people with the will to win that prevail. And, you know, OKC are the strongest team left at this moment of time. And the Pacers, you could argue, are the other team on the other side of the bracket that are also strongly willed. And yeah, you know, it's interesting, right? And we'll speak about Anthony Edwards later, so I'll save that conversation for a little while. But yeah, I think the NBA playoffs isn't about excuses. Winning isn't about excuses, bro, because when you win, that's all you'll be remembered for. When you lose, you'll be remembered as a loser. That's the harsh reality of sports. So for the Timberwolves, there'll be a lot of people that will go into this offseason with a lot of conversations about what's going to happen with Chris Finch, what's going on with Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle, what kind of jump will Anthony Edwards make in this offseason, much like he did in the previous offseason with his 3-point shooting and the adaptation in his game. There's always conversations to be had. And I think the same will happen again with this Timberwolves team as it did in the previous postseason, as they weren't able to get over the hump. And everybody was speaking about Ant-Man's conditioning and Rudy Gobert's fit with the team. And then when the trade was made to bring Julius Randle into the team, how he was going to fit and how that was going to bring success to the Timberwolves, which to a certain extent, that was a success. But, and there's a big but, they still weren't able to get over the hump.
Yeah.
So, and that is kind of the reoccurring conversation with many teams in the NBA. It kind of gets old sometimes because it's like, well, surely there's more to this than, oh, we might need to move a few pieces. Because often the conversation that gets lost amongst the media is how players can develop their game and improve upon and improve not just as individuals but as teammates. So that's going to be interesting for them. But for OKC, as such a young team, they display a level of poise, continuity in terms of excellence, and a will to win. Like we said before, they're hungry, they're professional, they're skilled, and they're assassins. They hunt. They hunt you down and they punish you on the other end. And that's something that's so unique. I think Mark Daigneault said it, like, these guys they're a unique group in a sense where you don't compare a team as young as this to the success that they've had thus far in their careers. But they continue to do so at such a young age with so much room to improve in the future. So yeah, it's just a time to enjoy.
For me, it's like it's slightly surprising, right, that they've made it here, right? Because of just how quickly the jump has happened, right? Like it's probably, this is over the course of, let's say, there's a 4-year history, right, where you could say maybe 4 or 5-year history, yeah, where it's been like they've gone from a team that very unfancied, looked like very disjointed, and it was like, Sam Presti's kind of like having to tell everybody within the organization and the supporters and say, hey, we have a plan. We know what we're doing over the next 4, 5, 6 years. And it was like, I remember when OKC got into the play-in, and I think they lost to, I think it was the Timberwolves, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. It was a playing game that, they played against the Timberwolves, and then the Timberwolves faced the Lakers, and the Lakers made it through after beating the Timberwolves. I think it was that year where we were looking at them and we're saying, they've got something, but, it's still not there just yet. They had a big three, you could say, of Giddy, Shai, and then I forget who the third player was because Williams wasn't drafted at that point in time, but they had a little big three going on, and it wasn't really like something that you could shout and scream about. And then OKC make it back into the playoffs, and then they lose second round, and then they come back, and now they're in the finals type of thing. Like, it's just like the jumps bet is just too quick for me when I'm looking at it. I'm just like, we're seeing this in real time. A team that has dominated the NBA this year, that's been the number 1 seed in the West both times, and now they're back in a position where they can win a title. And it's like, what does that look like for the rest of the league? Because this team is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Of course, there's going to be conversations surrounding, salaries and this and that, but that's another thing that's on the table for another time. What they're doing right now is unprecedented. There's no young teams that can go into a league full of experienced players and dominate in the fashion that they have. You can't really compare it to anyone, like you said, bro. So, like, I'm very shocked at like how quickly it's happened. Of course, the chips will have to fall. Like, there's always like moments, that you look at the Denver team, just a decision that they made a couple of seasons ago or a season ago has directly contributed to the fact that they can't compete at the same level as OKC. Roster construction is the biggest and most key thing for the teams that are successful in this moment in the NBA, right? And it will be the same for every single team moving forward. We have now removed ourselves from that big three era. You have to construct your rosters carefully through trades and through the draft. And that's what OKC have done, especially through the draft and through the trade, to be honest, because they waited. They were talking about getting a center in the trade deadline last season. They waited until the end of the season, and then they got themselves Hartenstein, who has been a consistent performer since he's been in the league. And then also at the same time trading a piece like Josh Giddey, because they were like, we don't want to pay him the money because we don't think he's got the ceiling, right? Go and get yourself an experienced guy who can come off the bench, right? Develop your young guys a little bit more in the starting five, and then somebody who's going to be a locker room presence, someone who knows the organization well, he knows the coach well, right? Because he was there, I think he was drafted, and he was there on like he was there for summer league. He was there, I think he was there for summer league or something. I remember seeing
he played with Coach Abdagno in the G League, bro.
The G League, yeah. See, that's I just remember seeing a picture of Alex Caruso in some like OKC unis, and then he was next to day, Yeah, so I remember. So he knows the organization well, he knows the coach well. So they strategically planned this, and the fact that they've set themselves up for the future, if in case they need to break things up, like, it's crazy to me because it's real cerebral planning. Like, you have to be a mad person to really say to everybody, yeah, we're a losing franchise. We've lost all of our best players, but we'll be good in like 5 years. Just listen to my plan and it will work. It's a mad thing to do because this is what Nico Williams is doing right now. That's what he's doing right now in those Dallas boardrooms in front of the owners. He's saying, look, I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy. Don't think I'm crazy.
You gotta do the raised eyebrow and everything, you know what I
mean? But yeah, like it's actually crazy. Let me get to these comments before we move on. Big up Super Nick in here. She's saying, time to break up the status quo, makes things more interesting. Look at the Champions League final. That's true. In the Unity Cup, Jamaica, because Ghana lost yesterday. We lost. We're in the third and fourth. So in Jamaica, we're in the third and fourth. So it's Jamaica. in Jamaica.
Oh,
It has to be. I'm there for man like Steve McLaren, you know.
listen,
uh,
listen.
justice for the Supersonics. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a part of it. This is a part of that history. Riri saying that there's no flair in these teams, no character. That's my thing. But then this is where like it's interesting you say this because it's like because you watched basketball in a different time period. It was the story was all about certain players, and sometimes those players overshadowed their teammates, right? So you look at that Chicago Bulls team. There were 3 players in that team that we always speak about, right? Mind you, there were other players in that team that were very important to that story. Like, you know, like you're looking at the Tony Kukoc coaches and the Steve Kerrs, like they were very important to that story. But the fact of the matter is that in those times you needed a hero to latch onto. Nowadays, everybody's got their own story, like within these teams. Players that have come from hardship or whatever, they've overcome certain things, but they're all part of one story together as a unit. So in terms of the character thing, I don't necessarily agree. In terms of the flair thing, it depends on what you prefer, like on the court. But
I know there are like I feel like Riri in a sense she prefers like because she mentions the edginess, the grit and the physicality side of the game, or maybe that's Super Nick. I know, yeah, she mentions like the edginess. One of them mentions the edginess, the physicality of the game that the '90s resembled in a sense. Whereas nowadays, obviously, there's the 3-point boom. There's the what people speak about as in foul baiting in a sense where I guess that has existed in many forms throughout the history of the NBA, but is more prevalent today because it's more spoken about, and obviously players are skilled in a sense to manipulate the foul call, and that's more so the official's eye more than anything, because we see this in many sports where players are able to manipulate contact to draw fouls and to trick referees into thinking that there was contact that negatively affected the attacker or the offensive player from a basketball standpoint.
But then, like when you talk about the 3-point situation, like I don't like the conversation but surrounding that, right? Because if your team was doing it at a very high clip and doing really well, you would never speak about it. I don't speak about it with the Celtics unless they lose. But then at the same time, this is where you want to play. This is how you want to play. Play the game. Don't deviate, right? But I think that is a result of analytics as opposed to a style of play. It's a percentage game. It's a numbers game, right? You're going to win more games if you shoot more threes and make more threes. It's as simple as that. More threes are greater than more twos. It's as simple as that. Now, I understand that people want to see the game played in a bit of a different way or a different style. I don't know if we'll ever go back to it because when you look at the players that are being generated now, we're having bigs shooting threes at a high clip. They are spacing the floor more than ever. So, like, I think that's a result of analytics as opposed to analytics and percentages as opposed to a style of play, right? But you know that it's up to everybody's kind of opinion there. Riri saying she don't mind the KD, Kyrie, LeBron, Steph era after the MJ era. Been seeing more OKC jerseys, new franchises, and players bringing in new fans, especially young fans. And this is the thing: it's like you're looking at it from a generational standpoint. There's gonna be a lot more of a diverse fan bases across the world from younger audiences because there's the star players are now spread across a number of different teams, and it doesn't really matter where those teams are. Where traditionally you have to be in a bigger or biggish type market. So it's a Chicago, it's a Los Angeles, it's a Boston, it's a New York, it's a Philadelphia, right? Whereas now it's some of the more kind of obscure kind of places in America. So it's now Oklahoma, it's Indiana, it's Milwaukee, like it's Denver, you know. So it's gonna be those kind of things, and it's gonna be like that forever now. I think in the NBA because teams are getting smarter. Teams are getting smarter in terms of how they're using, like who's gonna be their franchise player. Teams are really open to the rebuild. So look at Brooklyn will be a candidate soon. So will Atlanta. There'll be a candidate soon. You're hoping that they've got people in those offices, right, that are gonna make right choices. I don't know about Brooklyn because I don't know what they're doing right now. But Atlanta got to push the button right now. They actually gonna have to do it, right? Like, and you know, they're gonna have to do it again in New Orleans because I don't know, that guy over there is in trouble. But yeah, you know, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. Super Nick saying there's no Gary Payton or Penny Hardaway, but I came to the conclusion the NBA changed a long time ago. All sports evolve. You have to take it or leave it. Modern basketball has no flair, full stop. And that's your opinion. It is true that, you know, sports does evolve. I do reminisce for a lot in terms of old football, right? Where, you know, we didn't really care about the style of play or who the managers were or anything like that. We cared about the players on the pitch and what they did in every single game. And whatnot, and you know, it was based on instinct rather than systems and whatnot, and that's what we enjoyed. And maybe that would be the same for you and Riri, like in terms of how you saw basketball being played and things of that nature. Maybe it's a bit different now because, like I said, like there's a lot of analytics and there's sports science that gets involved, and that's why you see a lot of load management. The best players are fresher for longer. You're seeing even like some, like you look at this OKC team, and you can also look at the Pacers team to a certain extent. Those young players want to run. They don't care. They're running the whole 48 minutes. For me, I like that. It's the effort, the desire. I love it. To see a young team like that so hungry, and I guarantee you, if either of those teams was to win the championship, I guarantee you next season they have unless health is a problem and a factor, they'll do the same thing again. They will not fall off. They just can't, because they know, because the way the teams have been constructed, they know that right behind them they've got a Spurs in the West that are coming, right? In the East they've got a Detroit that are coming. They don't want to slip. They don't. Like, whereas some of the traditional big teams, they're struggling right now. Like the Celtics have big roster decisions to make this offseason. I don't know what's going to happen there, but something's going to have to be shaken up there if they want to be in the picture and competing with the likes of a Pacers or Detroit, because Detroit are coming. Like, regardless of what people think of the team and all of that, they've already made a massive jump up last season. They're coming. And then whatever happens with Atlanta, who knows what's going to happen with the Brooklyn Nets? You know what I mean? Like, something's being shaken up. Washington are coming. Like, they've got a young roster. They need to get rid of Jordan Poole. That contract is too big, and get themselves somebody else. They're coming. Like, people will be thinking I'm crazy, but I said this about the Pacers like at least 3 seasons ago. They're coming.
Where to Chuck, man? Them boys coming.
Hey. Hey, don't start this. Last week you made me choke, bro. Pause. Hey, this is crazy. Hey, no, I'm back. Nah, stop. Hey. Hey, look at vibes, bro. Hey. Big advice. But yeah, OKC is shouts out to them, man. Like, what they've been able to do this year is crazy. But it now leads me to a new conversation here, because now you're looking back at everything, yeah, and you're saying to yourselves, they've spoken about Anthony Edwards. You know, they've said that he's the second coming of MJ. This was last year after they swept the Phoenix Suns. That was the narrative. You know, people were talking about, I spoke to MJ. This is Stephen A was like, I spoke to MJ on the weekend, you know, and he was like, you know, that kid Edwards, man, he's good. He really like me. And I'm like, bro, like, why are we doing this? This kid is this is his second or third playoff run now, right? The first one, they got knocked out in the play-in. The second one, I think no, this is fourth. Because I think the second one, they got knocked out by Denver first round. Then last year to Western Conference Finals. And then now this year is also another Western Conference Finals. Okay? So the fact that He's gone through now 4 playoff runs, and he hasn't really breached that, right? But the way they talk about him as if he's like really achieved a lot in this league, mind you, they haven't really done much as a unit, like with him in charge. He ain't showed the level of poise that you would expect of a young guy. He's 23 years old, so we can give him a lot of time. But I think when you're looking at conversations between someone like Haliburton and him, they said that Haliburton is overrated, but no, he's not, because he's somebody that was drafted, yeah, with the Sacramento Kings, and they couldn't decide who they wanted, and they let him go. And he's had to go and rebuild a franchise by himself in a point in his career where, like, it could be tricky for a young player to get traded so quickly. Anthony Edwards has been given the keys to the franchise and a lot of money. So everybody's looking at you to be doing something. And you fell both times. We got, like, the thing I don't like is the whole thing of legend killer. Oh, LeBron, KD, Steph, this, that. When your peers are standing in front of your face and you can't beat them. Luka Doncic last year, you could not beat him. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander this year, you could not beat him. Those are your peers. Those are the people that you need to be going after, and you failed both times. To a certain degree, you are overrated. You have to be. Based on the way they speak about you and your achievements, you have not reached the heights of anywhere near an MJ. So why are people talking about you like you are? It doesn't make any sense.
I think it's because of his character, bro. They're kind of force feeding this face of the NBA thing because of the way that he acts outside of the basketball himself. His bravado, his character. When you watch videos and the way that he acts, even like on the Team USA stuff at the Olympics and so forth, like the way that he acts is the perfect kind of outgoing character in a sense that everybody gravitates to. So on the court, when you look at the way that he plays, especially at his very best, physical, down the lane, dunking on people, the improvements made in his game from the three-point shooting perspective, there's a lot to like about Ant-Man, and because I feel like from a work ethic standpoint, you can't fault him in terms of the strides that he's made in the game. From a leadership standpoint as well, to a certain extent, I feel like on the basketball court, he's a really good leader and he's growing into that role, especially as being that number one guy on the Timberwolves team and the guy that's been given the keys to that franchise and takes a lot of responsibility in being the leader of that franchise. But ultimately, you mentioned he's 23 years of age, bro. Shai, what is he, 26? Tyrese Haliburton, 25 years of age. Those are guys who, and the thing is, sometimes it's not even about age, it's about experience. Because Tyrese Haliburton and the Pacers, they've gone into situations where nobody's expected them to do well and to thrive and to get as far as they have. They said they didn't expect them to get to the conference finals before. They did that. They didn't expect them to get back to that point, and they did it again. So I think sometimes for young players or inexperienced players in that position, it's about going in there fearless and attacking the situation as they see fit. And for Anthony Edwards, last year it was about his conditioning. This year, for me, it's about handling situations with a level of calmness, with a level of understanding to the game. So we speak about him being an improved passer when getting doubled in certain scenarios. But sometimes it's about your poise in situations where games are getting away from you. And you need to kind of dial it in, not just for yourself, but your entire team. Slow down the game a little bit. Get some simple baskets just to see the ball go through the hoop and to get everybody's confidence going back again. So sometimes there are elements to the game, and even him struggling with the physicality of the OKC defense. Those are certain aspects that now you need to go into the off season, because those are chinks in the armor that you need to find out. It's good that he's finding this out from early, because everybody is going to speak about the fantastic parts of Anthony Edwards' game, and that is well deserved. And I understand where you're coming from when you speak about potentially he is being slightly overrated, but that is the media's job. You know what I mean? They always shoot this guy up to the stars, and then if they don't live up to expectations, they'll do what they did to Zion. They'll do what they do to LaMelo in Charlotte, where they put them back down on a certain pedestal and they keep them there until they break out of that mold, or they just stay there, stay in obscurity forever. That's how the search, right, for the next star or the next face of the league has been for the last few years, because they've been trying to demount LeBron James. They've been trying to demount Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. They've tried to find Zion Williamson. They've tried to find LaMelo Ball. They've tried to find all these. It goes as far back to even Lonzo Ball, bro, when he was drafted into the league. Like, they've been trying to find a Markelle Fultz. They've been trying to find the next guy. But all of these young guys have gone through adversity, and the media has shut them down. So what the young guys need to do in the off season is stay true to the work that they were committed to doing all through their career, before they even got to the league and throughout their journey in the NBA. And the same goes for Ant-Man. He doesn't see me as a guy that is fazed by the conversation of wanting to be the next face of the NBA. He just goes about his work. So I guarantee you, in this off season, he will work on the things that were the chink in his armor on this journey to the Western Conference Finals, and he will try to improve as best as he can see fit for his teammates as well. So Anthony Edwards is a tremendous player, in my opinion. One of my favorite players in the league. No doubt is going to be one of the best players in the league for many, many years to come. But ultimately, with the great that comes with a player, they always have weaknesses, bro. They always have weaknesses. And ultimately, it's the media's fault for sometimes over-egging and putting players on a pedestal that they're not ready for, so that when their adversities come through and they shine in the limelight, they have to shoot them down as much as they sped up their pathway to superstardom.
I mean, their franchise probably did that for him. Like, you know, when you look at like the contract he's on right now, he's getting 42 million guaranteed this year, 45 million guaranteed next year, 48 million the year after that, 52 in 27, 28, and 55 in 28, 29. Like, one, they've kind of put themselves in a pigeonhole a little bit, because now the roster has to be constructed in a way that serves the balance. The balance has to be right. They're obviously over the tax bill this year, right? How that gets done next year, I don't know, right? Because you're just looking at the team. Naz Reid has got a player option to pick up for next season. So does Julius Randle. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a free agent. He can walk at the end of the season. So it's like, how do you manage those three aspects of your team? Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna have to re-sign two. You can't re-sign all three, right?
And they're going through a scenario now with like new ownership, right?
Yep.
So there's always bound to be changes to a certain extent when it comes to ownership switches and them wanting to kind of make their own mark.
It's an interesting situation with the Timberwolves, man. Like, I feel like they're gonna have to make changes to this roster, because at the end of the day, that trade for Cat to bring in Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, ultimately, it's not the experiment based off of the season that we have seen has failed, regardless of if they've got into the Western Conference Finals, right? Because they would have hoped that making that move would have meant that they made one step further, and they didn't do it. They failed. Their regular season also was really bad. Like, they lost over 30 games this year, right, in the league. And ultimately they've got some difficult decisions to make in this offseason. And it's like Rudy Gobert, once again, in the playoffs, has showcased some really bad performances, even though the conversation was changing a little bit in the Lakers series, but it's like it's the Lakers, and he had spent a lot of time on the bench in that series too. Eventually, we're gonna have to look at this properly. And as I mentioned before, the Spurs are on their way. You're not gonna be like the Spurs are on their way. Next season, they're in playoff contention. That's guaranteed. The team that they've got, plus what they have in the draft, they got a 2 and a 14 pick. They can pick up a good young player or trade away one piece, trade down and get themselves another piece that's complementary to what they already have. And then it's the problem. What do they have on the table? That's what I wonder, right? I think Chris Finch is a great coach, but I don't know. Yeah, see, look at this. But this is the thing. This is his issue right now. This is why I say, like, this off the court stuff. Like, if I was in that locker room and he was the leader of my team and he's talking to me, I'm like, bro, I know what you do outside of here, bro. Like, don't talk to me. You're not my leader, bro. Like, you just, and like, you can tell he has to do it for the sake of like the team, but he don't want to really be the leader in that team. He just wants to go there, hoop, and live his life. But when you're getting paid 42 million, 45 million a year, you have to be the leader in that team. You've got to be the guy that puts the team on your back. Shai's the guy that put the team on his back. Like, there's no running away from it. You can't be out here living your life the way you want to, and then when it comes to Western Conference elimination game, and you scored, but you couldn't lead your team. It's the reality. Like, and this is why it's like, don't be telling me that because you see how the kids be talking about aura and all of this type of stuff now, that's the reason why you compare him to Michael Jordan. Nah, like, you gotta be more than just a good player or someone that's got some kind of character, like, or some sort of personality. Like, you actually you have to have grit and determination. You gotta be a leader. You gotta drag your team in them low moments to the highest point. He ain't done that. He's been in those low moments and he hasn't dragged his team out. And he's 23 years old, so we'll give him grace. We'll give him time. But stop overrating them. Like, let them run their course. It's one thing I hate about modern day sport. Like, we put these young players on pedestals and then be shocked in 3 years' time when they don't reach the heights that they were supposed to reach, or the heights that you expected them to reach. Because the reality is they're just human beings at the end of the day. They're extremely skilled at what they do. It's God-given talent by all means. But they're just human beings, bro. They can be affected by so much. Just like how we can be affected by so much. They're just in a very privileged position, in my opinion. So let's hope that for his sake, the people around him help ground him a little bit. Like, I think he is grounded, but at the same time, you can't be making 42 million at 23 years old and not be a wild guy. You just can't. There's no humble, wild people at 23 with 42 million, like $42 million. It's just not possible, in my opinion. You just can't be. He may act like it, but you know his real life that he don't show is crazy. Like, so, I mean, yeah, man, let's stop overrating these players and let them live their life, man. Like, let's see if he can actually come back next season. And it's obviously got some help with the organization. They got to help him too, of course. They got to construct something that's going to be like competitive at the end of the day. But he's really got to put the team on his back, because the way that the team is constructed right now, everybody's looking at you as the guy. So you've got to help us get over that hump. And let's get into the next topic.
Man.
Haliburton answers the critics, man. They freed his dad. His dad can now come back to the games. And that game against New York, right, where it was a similar situation in which, like, they were back and forth. It was quite close towards the end, and then the Pacers were able to find their way over that line and take a 3-1 lead in the series. And the thing that was interesting about it was Haliburton had 15 assists with 0 turnovers. Like, it's one of the greatest performances in the NBA playoff history from a point guard, right? For him to have the level of composure where, like, he's so efficient. when he's bringing his teammates into the game, right? Where I don't think you've seen this ever, right, in NBA history. There's no point guards that, because like anybody that is playmaking, right, in any sport, by all means, because you're taking that risk as a playmaker, you're going to give the ball away. You're going to live ball turnover or live action turnover, whatever it is, right? He doesn't do it. And it speaks to his IQ. Like, he doesn't do it. Like, he is an assist machine. And it's an evolution from, even we saw this several years ago, but like now it's like in the biggest moments, that composure is still there. What's your thoughts on him, bro? Like, in terms of him answering those critics, because they did say he was overrated and he's proven everybody wrong in his playoff run.
I mean, I'm just enjoying the show. I'm enjoying watching Tyrese Haliburton and the Pacers go to work. When we think about him being one of the best playmakers in NBA playoff history, with this run, in NBA history in general, with his level of efficiency, precision, with his passes as well. And, you know, some of these passes are crucial down the stretch, making important plays, not just offensively. And this is a guy who, we've spoken about the Pacers playing at a fast pace. Their greatest adaptation up to this point has been themselves adapting to the speed of their play, when to turn it on, knowing when to compete at certain levels, defensively, offensively. And he is a big part of that, being the orchestrator of the offense. And there are other guys who are great contributors as well. And then mentions Pascal Siakam and his contributions, 30 points last time out, but also throughout this series and during the NBA playoffs, the experience, the selflessness in his play and the aggressiveness on both ends of the floor that he offers, and then the depth overall of this Pacers team. I know sometimes there are guys that aren't able to perform as much as others, but you're always going to get a contributor, whether it be off on the starting court, starting five, or off the bench as well. So this is a team who are full of competitors. They're poised and ready for the moment. Shout out to Brush.
Yeah, bro.
And they're led by a guy who is fearless and who hears all of the outside noise, but doesn't give a damn, and who is determined almost to put pies on every single one of the guys who want to vote behind the scenes and don't want to speak with their chest about calling people overrated. Because that's what it is, yeah. A lot of these like cowardice people who want to do these behind the scenes votes but never want to speak out loud and share their opinions. That's what they go and do. And so when they're proved wrong, it's cool, because everything was done behind the scenes and nobody will ever know who voted. And for me, when it comes to all of that stuff, it's ridiculous, because we speak about the media, right? And their role in uplifting the sport of basketball. That's their response. That part of their responsibility is promoting the future of the game. So when we speak about teams like Orlando, when we speak about your Detroits, even a couple years back when you speak about Tyrese Haliburton going over to Indiana, when you spoke about the Sacramento Kings when they had their light the beam season, when you're speaking about these teams, when you mention Washington, when you mention, I don't know, the Brooklyn Nets, if they start ascending again, we're speaking about teams that could potentially grow into being in this position today, where Indiana is, where OKC are. Because 5 years ago, OKC were one of the worst teams in the NBA. 5 years later, they are arguably the best team in the league. Statistically, for sure, they are the best team in the league in the NBA.
They are. Like,
so
you can't even lie about it.
Part of the responsibility of people who are watching the league are the media, is to uplift and to educate people on what the future holds, so that they're not just stuck on the Golden States and the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James going up against each other, the Houston Rockets with James Harden, and all of these teams that everybody got used to because they had sustained greatness for a period that was loved and one to behold. No, you've got to start looking forward and seeing that no, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a decent guy that's just gone over to OKC. He has work ethic. He has a skill set that he continues to improve upon. Jason Tatum is a guy that has been here. He continues to have success. Every year he continues to make a jump. That's a guy we should look out for. Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons, coming off of their worst season, one of the worst NBA seasons of all time, have made a jump. And as a roster, that young roster continues to improve. That's a team we need to look out for. The Orlando Magic, led by Paolo Banchero, are a young roster who, again, continue to improve as a group. They continue to gain playoff experience after these last couple of years. Let's see what the roster construction is going to be like in this offseason. Let's see how the players are going to continue to improve as a collective and as individuals. That is your responsibility. That is our responsibility to a certain extent, bro.
Yeah.
So when you have these little things in the background, yeah, when you're trying to break down players and call them overrated, come outside and say it, bro.
Trust me.
If you want to say something, come outside and say it. Because if you want to do these little surveys, yeah, to me, your opinion doesn't matter, and it shouldn't matter. The fact that there are people that are willing to put together these types of polls, to me, is wild. Because, like, we had this conversation a few weeks ago on the podcast. The type of media that is being produced, cynical, sarcastic, like, how does that promote sports in a positive light? I get then you can create comedic content, but when there's content that is clearly breaking down and embarrassing and is being put out there to demean the sport, to downgrade the reputation of the sport that you so apparently love and appreciate and devote your time to watching more times than not, then what are we doing? Why are you dedicating your time to something that you want to downgrade and you want to insult? Because this is an art. People take this seriously. People, bro, from there.
We take this seriously.
Bro,
there's no point. We're here every week, yeah, talking about this.
Listen, yeah. There's been a few years ago, me and you were on the run of our lives in the NBA playoffs. Last year, postseason, no sleep for you. No sleep, bro. Guys are going to bed when the birds are chirping. When the light is coming through their curtains. They're supposed to have blackout curtains in their room, but somehow the light is shining through. That's dedication, bro. Guys are going to bed at 5, 6 a.m. in the morning just for you to break down that sport that they are devoting true time to build up. So for me, shout out to Tyrese Haliburton and shout out to all of the young guys in the league, yeah, who continue to put in the work, are not getting the recognition, but still have that work ethic to say, I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to make a name for them, for myself and my teammates. Because guess what? Those will be the guys that you will have to watch, whether you like it or not, in the future. And what are you going to say then?
Like, that's the reality. Like, this is where we are. Like there's a generational change over every single 5, 10, 15 years. Like, this is just what's going to happen. And obviously things will change with the times. So these younger guys are more aligned with the way things work with younger people. They're more immersed within certain cultures. You don't understand it. You don't understand it. And that's fine. The whole point of us being human beings is to be adaptable. So you should try and understand. I'm not saying immerse yourself in the culture, try and understand the culture, so then you'll better understand the players. Then you'll probably be able to appreciate their journeys, their stories, and enjoy the way they play. So you're looking at Tyrese Haliburton, his journey. His journey is quite interesting because he wasn't a highly recruited or highly rated player coming through the high school and college era, right? He comes into the league, right? He was a decent draft pick, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's like he was in a franchise where they weren't too sure who they wanted to go with, if it was going to be De'Aaron Fox or if it was going to be him. Like, I remember Chino. Chino, I would have loved him to be here because he was the guy that was like really championing Haliburton years ago when I started doing these streams and we were watching like random games. He would jump on and he was like, I went to watch because he was at the time he was living in the general area, so he went to a home game to watch his Miami Heat play against Sacramento Kings. And he was like, I watched this Haliburton kid and he's really good. And it's like, when he said that, I was like, let me watch him a little bit more. Let me see what his game is all about. And I was like, yeah, he's actually cold. And then I was surprised when they made the move to get rid of him or trade him for Sabonis. I guess they were trying to go in a different direction and they felt that De'Aaron Fox was the guy that they need to lead the franchise. He goes to Indiana and you're like, how is this going to work? Like, he's a good young player, but is he going to be is he going to have the keys? And he took it and ran with it. And he's been able to get himself into the position where he is the leader of that franchise. And he's showing it on the court every single night. He epitomizes the way that they want to play. And now he's one step away from taking this team from where they were in obscurity in the East, into becoming an NBA finalist. And he could win themselves a championship because the way that they play and like the paces, the evolution to their game this year is, one, they've slowed it down in those clutch moments, so they can play with pace and they can overwhelm their opponent because you can make a basket. They'll be down the court getting ready to score in a flash. The whole team is on it. The whole team defends like crazy. They fight through screens. Like Aaron Nesmith is a perfect example of that. That guy does not care. You can try and screen. I'm going through it. He does not care, and the whole team has to play like that. Otherwise, and that's the reason why you look at someone like Nembhard, same kind of guy. Effort on the defensive end. It's going to be interesting to see how those games with OKC ends up. I don't think it's going to be as foregone conclusion as the way it looks, right? It's going to be a difficult series if they get through. Man, like Chino back in there.
Yeah.
But Chino, bro, you came out at the right time. Talk to me about Haliburton, bro, because I remember when you went to, this is years ago, you remember when you went to watch that game, you came on the stream afterwards and you went to watch that game between the Heat and Sacramento, and you was like, this Haliburton kid, he is cold. Talk about your experience with watching this guy, bro, and like where he is right now, bro. Let the people know.
I like him as a hooper. He's just corny as a person. Not when that first game, bro. Remember when I first seen him, right? My boy that got that was going to be getting the Sacramento tickets. He was like, yo, he kept telling me about Tyrese, yo, Tyrese gonna be cold for us. It's like, who is Tyrese? And he was like, just check him out. Number 15? Was he wearing 15 at the time? It was like number 15, just check him out, bro. I was like, all right, bro. Bro was dishing dimes. Like, was he number? I forgot what his number was. I think he had 15 dimes, bro, and like 10 points. Like, he had like some close to a triple double on us without even trying, bro. I was like, nah, this kid is gonna be good. Like, when I was watching him, like the way he saw the floor, like he was just like a tall floor general, bro. Because usually, I mean, apart from Magic, floor generals aren't that tall. You know what I'm saying? He was just like a tall floor general, and then he couldn't really shoot. Because we know that he developed his shot at Indiana. But he could get to the paint, bro. And what was scary watching him live was he got to the paint with ease and would have an easy layup, but would dish it, bro. Like, he didn't hesitate to pass the ball. Obviously, years went on. That was what, about 3-4 years ago. So his game developed a lot more. But from that time, I knew he was gonna become a star. But he's just corny though. But nah, he's nice though. I'm not gonna lie, he's nice. But sometimes he does go in a flunk though, like when you're like, bro, you're looking real fluky. But that's everybody though. That's every player.
Yeah. Like I was just because I remember, bro. Like I remember it so vividly. Like because it's so interesting where we can all like watch different like moments and like players and teams, and we like, yeah, this team is gonna be this or this player is gonna be this based off on what you've watched. And I just remembered it because I was like, you went to watch him live. You came back and you told me in the stream, right? It's like this kid is gonna be something great in this league, and he's on his way. He's literally on his way right now. But yeah, man, I feel like tonight's the night. Like they can clinch it at MSG like they did last year. Even though they did it in 7, they can do it in 5.
What is it right now? 2-2?
No, it's 3-1. It's 3-1 to the Pacers, man. They can clinch it tonight, man. It could be over. I think if they don't win it tonight, they win it in 6. So
yeah, the Knicks was getting too loud still.
We're gonna talk about them in a minute because I'm looking at this right now. I'm saying Tibbs out. If they lose this series, it's only right he has to exit the door because it's because of him they're in this situation in this series. The same thing where, okay, the injuries haven't piled up this year in the playoffs, but you still run your guys into the ground because they don't have any gas. They can't go toe-to-toe with this Pacers team. This Pacers team continually gets out and runs, and your team can't contend with that. And now you're looking at your 2 big players in the team, Cat and Brunson, to lead you over the line because the rest of them ain't going to do that for you. Right? And the reality is Tibbs is at the forefront of this. He has not trusted his bench unit as much as he needed to, right? And maybe that's also because the
Hold on, but real quick though, bro, because I missed the beginning of the show, people, because I was in the sauna. Like, if y'all want to judge me. But that shit's healthy.
Nah, judge him. Judge him, bro.
Good for you. The sauna is good for you.
Just don't. You can do it after the show. You don't have to do it in the show.
Aid in recovery and all that shit. Anyways, my brother, CM, bro, ski. Hey, bro, I've always liked OKC, bro. You know this, too. You know this. No, Roland, don't even sound capping, CM. You know.
You're not.
Chino, listen, Chino's always had faith.
Nah, Chino's been on this. Chino said this, I think, on a stream 3 years ago. He was like, OKC, they're going to be the best team in the West. I remember, like...
Yeah, I
don't know what stream... Go back. If you go back to the big 3, like maybe look at 3 years ago, Chino came on here and said this team is gonna be like the best team in the NBA. He did say this.
Funny story, bro. Reason why I stopped saying OKC was like not really stopped saying I always kept a close eye on them. I had to pick a side in that finals, Miami versus OKC. That's when I picked a side, like. Because D-Wade, but I've always kept an eye on OKC. I was mad when KD left, bro. I've always liked them. But I ain't even going to jump on no bandwagon. People going to be like, bandwagon and all that. I ain't even doing that because I just want them boys to get one, man. They deserve it. You know why they deserve it, bro? Because they need to show teams like the Clippers and all these bitch-ass teams, stop dumping your first-round picks and good young players trying to build around these broken-ass, washed-up superstars. Look, Philly did the same thing for Paul George. Where they at? Didn't even make the playoff. His knee all busted up. OKC say, you know what? And you know what's crazy? I'm calling right now, bro. Go bet your house on it. They're winning the championship. Bro, you know what's crazy? They're about to win a championship and they still own 28 first-round picks, bro. Madness, bro. Absolute madness, bro. That man own the NBA right now, bro. It's like, yo, we need a first. All right, send us this bench players so we can keep our bench good and we could keep, you know what I'm saying? Send us this good young player where we don't have to pay him a max contract. We can give him a good money where it's not going to eat into the tax and all this shit. We could keep, bro. OKC controls the destiny of the NBA, bro. And it ain't even no control on some like some we bought this shit control. It's like, all right. We drafted KD, we drafted Russ, we drafted Arden. We lost in the final. We didn't pay Arden. People said, "Oh, that's a mistake." We kept trying with KD and Russ. You know what I'm saying? KD kept fluking out. Golden State, Curry Curry ankle got good. Golden State took over. All right, what we gonna do? We're gonna hit the reset button. Well, they tried with KD left. Let's try Carmelo. Let's try Paul George, the big three thing again. Fuck, that ain't working. All right, let's hit the reset button. Fuck it, let's sell the whole ship. Sold the whole ship for a bunch of first round picks. Got Chris Paul. Got Chris Paul to come in as a vet. And was it halfway through the season, CM?
Bro.
Was he there for halfway or one?
Yeah. Nah, he was there for a whole season.
Yeah, brought Paul in, right? It's like, yo, let's teach these young guys. Okay, Paul took them to the playoff, taught these young guys what it's like being a vet, you know what I'm saying? The Shai. And the thing, people is like, oh, people watching them like, oh, they're goofy. I like that shit. Their interview, you can tell them they funny with each other. Like, people be like thinking Shai is being rude, but you can tell it's the vibe. It's like, nah, shut up. Like, that's just how they vibe, bro. Like, they have a camaraderie. Like, it's a close-knit group. And look where it took them, bro. Like they built that shit brick by brick, bro. None of that Celtics buying ring shit, bro.
Who bought the ring? Who bought the ring? The court is been drafted, bro. What are you talking about? Who bought the ring? See, look, you see how it's gone quiet? You see how he's gone quiet? Because he knows you guys buy the rings, bro, over in Miami. You buy the rings. Rick Ross. You went from Rick Ross and DJ Khaled to the guy that does the face dunking thing, bro. That's who you are now. Instagram and TikTokers. That's what you lot are over there, bro. That's it.
Fizzy water, yeah.
Fizzy water, lemon on the face. I say lemon on the face, lemon in your eyes.
Banana. Rubbing banana.
Rubbing banana and them things there, sleeping at 4 o'clock in the morning, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, sleep at 7 o'clock at night, bro. What is this, bro? Man didn't even do anything, bro. Man put on his blazer to be doing up content in his house.
Listen. Speaking of that, the Prince of Saudi just paid that dude $10 million, bro, to come to his wedding, bro. I ain't gonna lie, people laughing at bro and not bro is making his bread. Like, he's bro. I would never knock a man to make his bread. Like, bro is listen, bro. $10 million.
He said Haliburton's corny. But he's corny.
He is corny.
Okay, so and this guy's corny too.
Oh yeah, they are corny.
Yeah, thank you. That's it.
Tatum's corny. Oh,
see, this is where you see.
Okay, you don't want to have that conversation.
When I start talking about Tyler Hero being the franchise player for the rest of your life.
That nigga.
Hey. That's
a reality. He's the franchise. He's the franchise right now. So
if they don't trade him this summer, bro, yo, did you guys know I did not watch one Miami Heat game last season?
You watched
this season? No, I didn't. No, I seen clips. I seen clips on Twitter. Like, I did not turn on my phone, my iPad, my TV, and tune into a Miami Heat game.
What some
games? I know. I've seen clips on Twitter, bro. I've seen clips, and I've watched the stat line, like through ESPN. I watched the stat line, but bro, I haven't watched the game. Like,
they turned you into a casual. That is crazy.
No, it's not even a casual, bro. I told the guys, like, I'm not watching another game till they get him off my team. I'm not watching another game till Tyler Hero is off my team, bro. I'm that serious, bro.
You're a funny guy, bro. Honestly,
it means that much to me.
So that means you don't watch no sports then, because Man United ain't doing nothing. You just been nothing. You ain't been doing nothing this year, you know.
I've been watching them shit bags.
Hey, CM, what do you think about this Tibbs thing, bro? Like, New York, bro. If they don't win, if they don't get through the series, which is highly unlikely, what happens with that team?
I mean, what does happen with that team? I'm because they've committed a lot to building the team that they currently have. That's the thing, and I'm a fan of that roster currently constructed. Now, everybody speaks about the coach Tom Thibodeau and his management of the team.
Hey, Roland, mute me.
Yeah.
in terms of the minutes that they play and the high amount of minutes that they play in the regular season and how that affects them once they get into the postseason. Sure, when you look at it, you gotta start like thinking about them funny, but I'm thinking about situations also where like teams are going at Jalen Brunson, right, to wear him down. How can the New York Knicks make adjustments to get him away from those defensive responsibilities so that offensively he has the energy to keep up, but also getting other guys involved so that they maintain and stay ready? So it's a difficult one because I think as they are currently constructed, they're good enough to go beyond the conference finals. When we're looking at the state of the NBA today, the New York Knicks are more than good enough to compete for a championship, in my opinion. But sometimes it falls down to who are the fittest, who are the best coached team, and the players especially, who are the ones that are able to step up best in the moments that they are dealt with. And I think the New York Knicks in the last few years, they've either not been the fittest in terms of injuries and their bodies breaking down, in terms of coaching, that hasn't worked their way either. And that a part of that goes into the first part that I brought up in terms of their fitness and their injuries, and of course the continuity in terms of their play. So I think with Tom Thibodeau, he's a good coach, but after a few years now of where they've tried and they failed, they've tried and they failed, they've climbed, they've fallen, they've climbed, they've fallen. The first place to look at is say, okay, well, we've committed a lot to this roster. We've brought in Karl Anthony Towns. We've got all of these guys, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson. We have a good enough roster. So maybe now it's time to look for a difference in opinion. And where does that always start with? The coach.
The coach.
So
like,
it's a tough one. But I
like,
think he will be the first fool guy if they make that decision.
I mean, I can see that happening. I think this is fifth year as the coach, I think, as of the Knicks. I'm not so sure. Fourth or fifth year, maybe.
So yeah, so fifth year as the head coach. So he's had a lot of time, and you know, when we think about them, first season 41-31 record, 37-45 they fell to in the second season. First season they lost in the first round. Second season didn't make the playoffs. Third season, Eastern Conference semis. Next season, conference semis again. This season, they get to the conference finals. 51-31 record. So back-to-back 50-win seasons. And even though they reached a series more than their previous two campaigns, they may not be able to get over that hump and reach their finals berth that they've so badly wanted.
I mean, I'm just looking at the contract situation with them, right? And it's just like, you can tell there's no plan here, right? Because Jalen Brunson is taking less money, right? Which, you know, what he was guaranteed last year in order to bring in a Karl Anthony Towns. Jalen Brunson is the best player on this team. This is hands down. He's the best player on this team. They traded for Karl Anthony Towns. Why? I don't know. And the money that they're giving him, like, it's a lot. So it's 49 million guaranteed this year, 53 million guaranteed next year, 57 the year after that, and 60 as a player option. He has a player option for 61 million in 27-28
million. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, like, and you're looking at guys like Mikal Bridges. He's only got 2 years left. You're gonna have to sign him again. You're gonna, if you're committed to this whole thing, you're gonna have to re-sign him, right? Like, what are you gonna do with Mitchell Robinson? Are you gonna re-sign him? Because he's performed in these playoffs. When you really needed him, he's actually performed. But I don't think you can guarantee you can rely on a guy who can't make free throws in crucial moments in the playoffs when you need buckets, right? Like Josh Hart, great player, but I don't know what else you can. I think he's quite limited. Apart from the work ethic, the grit, the kind of defensive identity that the New York Knicks want to have, right? Which he's a big part of. on the offensive end, he's too inconsistent to rely on as a starter in that team. Like, it's just a reality. And then when you look at their roster, the rest of it, it's like Precious Achua, he's gonna walk. I don't think they're gonna re-sign into anything. Miles McBride, a guy that they've developed, he's 24, so he's young, so they're gonna get some change out of him. But then after that, it's like Cameron Payne, Delon Wright, PJ Tucker's 40. He's 40 years old. He's there. They brought him in the mid-season. There's nothing there. It's bare bones, that squad. They're gonna have to relook at it. As I said, they don't look like there was a plan. I think they tried to bet big and go all in right now. And ultimately, betting big means you have to go and get the elite of the elite. You cannot have a guy who's been in the league for 10 years, and when he came in as the number one pick, everyone was expecting him to be that level, and he's fell shorter than that level. And now you traded for him, and he's now supposed to be the headliner of your team. And he's gonna have his moments, but he's not gonna be consistent enough for you to say, we rely on you. You can't bring in and give up picks for guys that, or pay guys a lot of money when they are not the elite of the elite. I'm speaking of OG Anunoby. His playoff run has been very inconsistent. It has been. He's had great moments and he's had really bad moments. But they've committed to $164 million for this guy for the next 4 or 5 years. You've given up a lot of your future to acquire Mikal Bridges, when you probably didn't even need to give up that much. Brooklyn Nets would have been selling anyway. They would have taken 2 first-rounders. Do you know what I mean? They would have taken 2. Because at the end of the day, they need them. They're going to try and rebuild their roster. Giving them 5 is like highway robbery for me. So they're going to look at the coach first. That's just the reality. They're going to look at the coach first.
Wi-Fi issues.
All right.
Shout out to Jamaica. Trinidad suck. But the Knicks, bro, the Knicks is, bro, you know what it is, bro. It's fuck the Knicks. Fuck the Mets and fuck the Nets. Fuck the Yankees. The Knicks, bro. All right. Rivalry aside and fun and joke aside, if the Bucks was healthy and didn't have Doc Rivers, the Knicks wouldn't be here. If the Celtics was healthy and you know what I'm saying, didn't have that unicorn raper boy on their team, the Knicks wouldn't be here. Bro, don't be looking like you don't know Kristaps have cases out there, bro. Don't be looking like that. That man got cases, bro. Where he paid off, bro. Look at CMC. Like, he got cases, bro, where he paid off, bro. Don't be looking at me like that, bro.
Hey, what?
Bro, Tingus Pingus got case.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. Continue what you had to say, bro.
Yeah, but the Knicks want to be here. Bro, the Knicks are frauds. They're fluke, bro. Like, it's the biggest frauds in the NBA, bro. Like, they are, like, it's like, bro, it's like if you see, like, if you're a betting person and the money line is put $100 on the Knicks to win $10 million, you might as well just save that $100, bro, and buy some groceries and go cook some food, bro, because that $10 million ain't coming. I'm like, it's just what it is, bro. It's you know, like when Draymond said, like, some niggas are 82 game players, some niggas are 16 game players. The Knicks, they're not made for it, bro. They don't have it. Like, the Reggie, bro, ever since Reggie gave them that, bro, Patrick Ewing, I mean, Jamaican and all that, but you got to catch this straight, my brother. Bro, man blew a layup for a championship, bro. It's the Knicks. It's the Knicks. It's in their history. It's in them. It's embedded in them, bro. Like it's embedded in them.
It's the heritage of the Knicks. It's crazy. That's crazy. Hey, we're gonna wrap up
City
the
of
show.
heartache, heartbreak.
Hey,
Brother, I heard there's a lot of trades coming for the Celtics.
we'll see, man. I don't know what's happening. We'll see. We'll react to them when they happen, boy. I don't know. Let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. But hey, people, we're gonna wrap up the show right here. Finally,
Yeah, and I just got here.
Now you came at the right time. You came at the right time. I forgive you for your absences over the last few weeks. Just next week, do not start in the sauna. I beg.
What's next week? Next week, Thursday. Bro, today, okay, bro. So I'll tell you mine off stream, bro. I wasn't even supposed to.
All right, people. Appreciate the love in the comments. Hey, the comments have been lit. Thank you to everybody who's been watching as well. Like, we are continuing next week. Obviously, we will know who are going to be the finalists. We actually may have a break of a few days before the finals start. And then we get to see OKC.
Oh, no. Did you mind? Okay. Hold on. Did you mind bring up this on the show? What I said in the group chat about the big three and the championships.
No, we didn't. We didn't bring it up. You bring it up.
I don't want to bring it up, bro. You must bring it up, bro. Bro, can you imagine, bro? It would have been me, then Roland, and now CM. Oh my God, I'm sad.
we could have all came on stream with rings,
bro.
I kind of look into the future. That could have been the case. He said, Chino, let me see your ring, bro.
No ring. Hey,
maybe next year when we get Giannis.
No Giannis, bro. No.
Yo, if we get Giannis, it's over.
It's not over for anybody, bro. It's not over. Like, regardless of if you get Giannis, you're giving up the whole team. It's gonna be Giannis, and you will be playing with Giannis, bro, in Miami. You, Giannis, and like 5 other guys. That's it.
Me and Giannis will give the Celtics 70, bro. Giannis giving 60, and I'm helping with 10, nigga. Fuck you talking about? Me and Giannis, bro, giving the Celtics 70, bro. Giannis dropping 60, and I'm dropping 10. What you talking about, bro?
No, hey, bro, you got knees like Kenny Smith. Don't even try it, bro. You and Kenny Smith got the same knees, bro. So stop it.
No,
bro.
don't.
Hey, oh, that's peak.
Yeah, I'm leaving. Watch if I come back here next week. All right. Hey, everybody, this will be my last show on Pros Only Sports. I will not be coming back.
Don't run.
These type of disrespect and slander.
Don't run.
I know you've seen Legend legs, bro. You know where he get those legs from, bro.
Nah. Don't put your son in this. Don't put your son in this.
No, bro. You see man legs, bro. You see how man legs is bent all the way back, bro.
We're talking about you.
Bro, don't be
you and Kenny Smith in the same team, bro. That's you, bro.
I swear, I swear down, bro. When I come to the UK, and I will be there this year. I will be there. I'm slapping you in your head, bro. I'm slapping you in your head, bro. I'm not even playing, bro. I'm slapping you in your head, bro. And you're gonna have to catch me. You're gonna have catch me with my Kenny Smith knees. You see how you see how Kenny be running on stream.
Kenny's knees are gone, bro. Like, he can't run. Like, his knees are gone in it. So that's you in it. I'm just letting you know it. But hey, big up to Jez. Hey, Jez is happy. You know, his last 2 weeks have been so blessed. Hey. Jez has seen Spurs win a trophy for the first time in 17
All right, I'm out. Hey, big up everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Super Nick, I'll see you in the comments. Big up my sister. Big up Vibes. Big up Brush. And then you're still a batty man, but big up for tuning in. Big up everybody that came through and watched the show, man. Big up yourself. Yo, don't bring that shit up, bro. That Spurs shit, bro.
Nah, we gotta bring up, man. Big up,
Bro,
Jess.
I was in a mental coma, bro, for like, how do you lose to a team that, how do you lose a trophy to a team that don't win trophies? That shit makes no fucking sense, bro. Like, only Man United would do some shit like that. Only two teams with England would do something like that. Man United and Arsenal. The only two teams would lose to a team for a trophy to a team that does not win trophies, bro. Like, that shit makes no sense, bro. CM, big up yourself, man. Shout out to OKC, man. For this under my nose, I'm out.
I'm out.
Hey, Chino is hilarious, fam. Like, big up to Chino, always. But no, Jez, he's happy right now. OKC could win a championship in the next couple of weeks. Hey, it's different for you, bro. You're living life right now. But yo, we're gonna end the show right here. Big up to everybody that's come through. Big up for the support. We appreciate it so much. The Big Three continues next week, so make sure you stay tuned. Hit the like button, subscribe button as well if you're new. Notification bell, all that good stuff. But before we get out of here, CM, let the people know where they can find you as always, fam.
Yes, people. Big up to everybody inside, man. Like what Roden said, the chat has been live today. We got Chino's sightings. Big up to Roden each and every time for holding it down on the show too. You can find me CM22ET. I'm doing a lot of content on TikTok nowadays, speaking about United and football in general. Anything that interests me. So yeah, find me over there. Find me on my YouTube channel as well. Same name, same game. So yeah, man, show some love when you can.
Yes, sir. We're out, people. Peace.